The crazy life of Somali pirates. Are they heroes or villains? In the blue haze of the Indian Ocean, where the horizon melts into the sky and the waves conceal both danger and opportunity, a new breed of modern outlaws emerged: Somali pirates. Their story is more than just a headline about men with AK-47s on speeding skiffs. It is a dark, fascinating, and complex tale of survival, desperation, and global neglect. When the world first heard about Somali pirates, most people pictured savage criminals, ruthless and greedy, hijacking gigantic cargo ships and threatening the lives of innocent sailors. But to truly understand whether they are heroes or villains, we must sail back in time, beyond the gunfire and ransom calls, to a broken nation that gave birth to them. It all started in the early 1990s when Somalia plunged into civil war after the collapse of Siad Barre's government. With no central authority, Somalia became a playground for warlords, militias, and foreign opportunists. While the land burned and starved, the sea, too, became a silent victim. Foreign fishing vessels from Europe and Asia began illegally plundering Somali waters, stealing billions of dollars worth of fish every year. To make things worse, reports surfaced of toxic waste being dumped along the Somali coastline, poisoning fish and causing mysterious illnesses among coastal communities. The sea, which had once been a lifeline for Somali fishermen, turned into a graveyard. Faced with empty nets and diseased waters, many fishermen had no choice but to defend their livelihoods. At first, they formed informal Coast Guard units, patrolling and driving out illegal trawlers, but with no legal framework or support. Their missions turned into something else: a business of hijacking. Pirates realized that hijacking foreign ships was not only easier, but also far more profitable. Suddenly, young men from fishing villages started arming themselves with RPGs, AK-47s, and ladders, racing across the waves in small, fast skiffs. The ocean became their battleground and their bank. The turning point came in April 2009 with the hijacking of the Maersk Alabama. A group of Somali pirates boarded the American cargo ship and took Captain Richard Phillips hostage. The world watched in horror and fascination as the U.S. Navy dispatched warships and elite SEAL teams to rescue him. The dramatic standoff ended, with 3 pirates killed by Navy snipers and Phillips rescued in an operation that cemented the pirates' image as global villains. Hollywood would later immortalize the story in the film Captain Phillips, reinforcing the idea of Somali pirates as ruthless and reckless criminals. But beneath this sensational narrative lies a deeper tragedy. The pirates saw themselves not as mere bandits, but as defenders of their coast, forced into crime by circumstances beyond their control. Many pirates claimed they were fighting back against sea bandits, the foreign vessels that stole their fish and dumped toxic waste. For them, piracy was a form of tax or retribution against global exploitation. And in a country where the average person earns less than $2 a day, the promise of million-dollar ransoms was irresistible. Some pirates suddenly found themselves living like kings in crumbling coastal towns, buying flashy cars, building mansions, and attracting admiration from young villagers who saw piracy as a fast track to power and wealth. International shipping companies, terrified of these sea hijackers, began paying massive ransoms, sometimes up to $10 million per ship. Pirates set up sophisticated operations, complete with accountants, negotiators, and financiers. They even established motherships, larger vessels, that could launch multiple skiffs farther offshore, extending their reach deep into the Indian Ocean and even the Arabian Sea. Insurance rates skyrocketed, global trade routes shifted, and naval coalitions from dozens of countries scrambled to patrol the vast ocean. But the golden age of Somali piracy did not last forever. Around 2011, an international coalition led by NATO, the EU, and independent naval forces began aggressive anti-piracy operations. They escorted ships, conducted raids on pirate bases, and supported Somali authorities to crack down on piracy networks. At the same time, shipping companies implemented new security measures, including armed guards and barbed wire around decks. Slowly, hijackings declined. By 2015, Somali piracy had nearly vanished from global headlines. Yet, the question remains, are Somali pirates heroes or villains? From a moral perspective, piracy involves violence, kidnapping, and extortion actions that cannot be justified. Innocent sailors were terrorized, and families traumatized worldwide. However, looking deeper, it becomes clear that piracy was not born purely out of greed, but out of desperation and injustice. Foreign greed stripped Somali waters bare, and global indifference allowed a failed state to collapse, creating the perfect storm for piracy to flourish. Even after piracy's decline, Somalia's fundamental problems persist. The same poverty, political instability, and environmental exploitation that fueled piracy continue to haunt the region. New generations of Somali youth still dream of the fast money and fame that pirates once enjoyed. Meanwhile, criminal networks have shifted focus to other lucrative activities, such as arms smuggling, human trafficking, and illegal fishing protection rackets. There is also an uncomfortable truth that the world prefers to ignore. Somalia's pirates were a symptom, not the disease. They emerged from the toxic mix of foreign exploitation and domestic collapse. The same international community that now hunts pirates once turned a blind eye to illegal fishing and toxic dumping. In this light, Somali pirates might be seen as tragic anti-heroes, driven by the need to survive in a world that abandoned them. Captain Richard Phillips's rescue may have ended one dramatic chapter, but it did not close the book on Somali piracy. As long as the underlying economic and political issues remain unsolved, piracy can re-emerge either in Somalia or in other fragile coastal regions. In recent years, piracy hotspots have shifted to the Gulf of Guinea, Southeast Asia, and even parts of South America, proving that the problem is global and deeply rooted. Through this lens, the story of Somali pirates is not just about high seas, drama, and action movie rescue missions. It is a reflection of global inequality, environmental crime, and the unintended consequences of ignoring failed states. These pirates force the world to look at a forgotten coastline and ask uncomfortable questions. Who really owns the oceans? Who protects the voiceless fishermen? And when does survival turn into crime today? In Somalia's coastal villages, the legends of the pirate kings live on. Songs and stories celebrate their cunning, bravery, and defiance against foreign ships. Young boys still look at the sea with a mixture of fear and ambition, dreaming of fortunes beyond the horizon. Meanwhile, the world continues to debate. Were they bloodthirsty criminals or misunderstood defenders? In the end, perhaps they were both heroes to some, villains to others. Their legacy is a murky reflection of a world where the line between survival and crime is dangerously thin, and where the cries of the desperate are drowned by the roar of the waves. The Somali Pirates saga is a modern maritime myth, a reminder that the ocean, like humanity, holds both beauty and darkness in equal measure.